2 has entered the game.
Ed!
Turns out it's not too impressive if you blurt out the name of a video game when it appears in a film or series. Based featured TimeSplitters and Resident Evil, and Shaun of the Dead didn't actually feature an on-screen version of TimeSplitters. I am CouchCube, by the way, but we all know it was there, and we all know Peg's a big PS2 fan. TimeSplitters came in 3 forms: TimeSplitters, TimeSplitters 2, and TimeSplitters Future Perfect. This video is really going to be about TimeSplitters 2. That's where all my pleasant memories are, and that's where the split screen really came into its own. We're looking at a Neo Tokyo level, rain, reflection, neons. It's 2002, and TimeSplitters 2 was well ahead of its time. I haven't even touched on the soundtrack. I can think of so many games that haven't done a cyberpunk city or introduction half as good as this now in modern day gaming. You've got to look at Mirror's Edge and some of my cyberpunk material. I have produced videos about games that aren't Cyberpunk 2077. Well worth the look. We need to talk about Free Radical, the studio. TimeSplitters 1 was kind of built as a spiritual successor to Iredi GoldenEye. Yeah, loads of the developers came out of that studio, started their own, pumped this series out under Eidos and EA, and the whole thing was a massive success story. We'll get to Haze in a minute. So we've got some absolutely industry-leading talent on team, and we've got some very good new ideas, and of course the whole thing is geared up around split screen, both PvP and co-op. This is the strength of the series, particularly with TimeSplitters 2 and Future Perfect. The campaigns were really good, they were very strong. This particular level was one of the strongest of TimeSplitters 2, but that train scene, some of the opening single-player content was also extremely memorable. What you're seeing here has rarely been equalled on a couch co-op campaign level since 2002 and this series. We're sneaking around, we're avoiding cyber police, you can see the sirens, there's vision cones, one of us had a gun at the start, the other one didn't, there had to be cameras taken out. It was like a step-by-step process, constant communication, excellent level design, and really groundbreaking visuals for the time. The way that the weapon is pitched on screen is very GoldenEye, and some of the animations and sort of the blockiness of characters themselves was A subject of graphical fidelity at the time, but B, also something that blatantly is carried over from the GoldenEye series. Some of them grabbing their wound spots or having detailed animations on death was totally a new thing for us. Also, remember that GoldenEye was a Nintendo 64 exclusive, and that was a very expensive machine at the time. One thing that's miffed me about Nintendo a little bit is they used to come out with these mammoth, powerful machines every so often that would just directly compete with any other powerful system on the market. The Cube was the last time we saw that, but the 64 was a big machine, both on price tag and performance. Let's get back to the game's other attractive aspects, and this might be something that some of you may have forgotten, but it came with a map editor that we're going to get to in a second. But you could also play with like prefabricated builds as characters and on maps, both on a local co-op and one-on-one PvP, but also be teamed up against AI bots that you could control the numbers of and actually build the map from scratch. This is the editor section I wanted to talk about. Colossal. I couldn't believe how much freedom they gave us. Doom does it a little bit nowadays, and we used to see a lot more of it in the COD games. But one thing I will say now is that video games are locked in this respect. We don't get given the freedom and creative inspiration. The developers just say, look, here are all the assets, here's all the stuff. Why don't you guys come up with your own ideas? We saw it with Tony Hawk. A lot of this is going, and it annoys me because 90% of the fun with that TimeSplitters 2 was creating a crazy level and then stuffing it full of reindeer Mr. Underwoods. To be fair, Halo is still clinging on to that Forge and its map editor aspects, but they stripped the whole franchise of split screen, so it's like 2 of one, half a dozen of the other. It doesn't really matter if you haven't got that local co-op aspect in the first place, 343. And I've put a video about the decline of split screen, especially with the Halo series Splinter Cell. That's exactly what this map and this mission was. It's the first mission of TimeSplitters 2 in the main game itself, and it was amazing. It was like having a Far Cry game on 2 screens. You had to communicate, take out the cameras. A lot of the enemies had personalities. They would make noises. You could shoot them through windows. There was stealth. It was excellent, and it was huge. The game was also damn difficult with having strict vision cones and like one chance only not to be seen. I replayed that Neo Tokyo level a lot, and this on hard with a mate was like clockwork. You had to be point to point, minute to minute, very fast and clean out the whole base before you were spotted. It was great game design. The third installation for me seems to be one of the more misty on memory, and there is a thing called TimeSplitters Rewind, which I confess I don't know much about, but it seems to be like a 2021 remake. Whether it came to fruition or not, I'm not sure, but that would be something interesting. And I think you can also access this on Xbox Arcade still, on a backwards compatible subscription. Again, don't quote me. Get this, that terrible Homefront Revolution game came with a copy of TimeSplitters 2 that worked on the PlayStation 4. That is definitely confirmed. Now let's talk about what happened to Free Radical. Because the TimeSplitters trilogy sold so damn well, Sony sort of took them on board and made them develop an exclusive PlayStation 3 game called Haze. I know, alarm bells are starting already. They're making them commit. It's a system exclusive and it's a new IP. Yeah, it flopped hard. It was billed as Sony's Halo killer and it just didn't do anything. It was a terrible first-person shooter, and I went with an Xbox 360 by the grace of God, because that was what I call my dark years, my step away from the Sony franchise with the console. I didn't own the PlayStation 3, but that wasn't a huge loss. If you would like to see the full classic co-op playlist, links and annotations, and please help me become the internet's biggest couch co-op YouTuber, I will see you down there. Thank you very much.